Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here because guess what? I have got the craziest story about a witch, 3 witches as a matter of fact. It is so bizarre and off the wall that that's really the only thing I can say about it without saying anything more. So, if you're new here, my name is Brandy, and what I do is I bring you guys some strange history, dark history, ghost stories, things like that, just odd historical events that happen. Excuse my dog from walking around. I like to bring you guys dark history stories, basically, is what I'm saying. Any kind of historical event that is absolutely off the wall, I'm totally down for it. While I tell the story, I also put some makeup on my face. I will list that makeup down below along with links on where to find it. And with all that said, please subscribe if you like things like this because I love to do it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this party started. Just imagine that you have been a healer, your entire life, and you've been known as Mother, which tells me that you have a nourishing spirit and that people come to you for help, right? That's what healers and shamans used to be. Well, with the Witchcraft Act in England, all of this started to tumble down. And so we get to the very first witch that was ever executed in England under the Witchcraft Act. So today we are talking about Agnes Waterhouse, and she was born in 1503 in Essex, England. It's actually a very special kind of province that she is from. And the strange thing about this one is the other 2 people that are implicated in this, one is her daughter and the other is her sister, okay? Now, these women had knowledge that had been given to them by their grandmother, okay? And the kind of knowledge that people needed to use herbs to help heal, to use flowers and roots and things of that matter as medicine. Because today we're talking about Agnes Waterhouse, like I say, and she's actually called Mother Waterhouse because everybody kind of looked to her, and this is just what I'm thinking, as a motherly type figure, somebody that you would go to when you need nurturing or healing, or if you need anything, you call somebody your mother. That's your mother, And so Mother Waterhouse, Agnes, like I say, was one of the first executed under the English Witchcraft Act of 1562. And she was accused. We don't know what was leading up to this. There's not much historical, but I can pretty much guess. But she got accused of bewitching to death a man named William Finn. Okay, and then sheep started disappearing. Livestock started dying. We've seen this before, that when some horrible thing happens to a person or to their livestock or to their livelihood, they look for a scapegoat. And to say that this lady, Agnes, she was born in 1503, she doesn't die till 1566. That tells me she was very, very old when they did this. So maybe she was an old hag, as they would say for witches. She probably lived alone, although she did have a daughter, but maybe the daughter didn't live with her. And there's this whole cat thing, guys. The cat thing is insane. Just strap up and get ready. Before we get to that cat, though, I gotta tell you guys about these ladies. So there's 3 ladies that get implicated in this. One is Agnes's daughter, Joanne, and the other is her sister, Elizabeth, okay? Her and her sister Elizabeth have different last names, so I don't know if Waterhouse is a maiden name or if that was her married name. But she had a sister, and I don't know if they shared the same mom or dad or however it goes. There's no history on that. But Elizabeth Frances was her sister, and Joan Waterhouse, I said Joanne, my bad. Joan Waterhouse was her daughter. Now, nobody, like I say, we're not really sure what happened, what led up to this. You know what I mean? Besides the fact that this guy, William Finn, develops an illness and passes away from it. And somehow another, they decide to make Agnes the scapegoat in this, probably because, like, A, she's old, B, she has knowledge of herbs, which at this time people are starting to fear. They're fearing healers and shamans because the church is telling them to. The church is telling them that these are witches. These aren't people trying to help you. These are people trying to hurt you, you know? And we'll get to the knowledge thing in a minute, because both of their grandmother, and I don't know if it's the same grandmother, okay? They may not have the same grandma. I don't know. Unfortunately, that's how history is. It don't go that deep. So I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head. But anyway, the man died on November 1st of 1565. Now, this Witchcraft Act had already been in action for like 3 years by this time. And nobody had been done with yet. Nobody had been hung or executed or anything for witchcraft yet until Agnes Waterhouse. They decided to pin her for this man's death. So here's where the weirdness starts. All right. So once she gets basically taken in, she confesses to being a witch. Okay. Point blank period. She confessed to being a witch and that her cat was a familiar who later turned into a toad. Okay. And its name was Satan, which is just basically an offshoot of Satan. This is what Agnes is saying. She's saying that her cat's name is Satan, and it can also turn into a toad, and that she's a witch. I feel like she's giving us all a bad rap right now. Now, the cat originally belonged to Elizabeth, her sister. It was given to her by Elizabeth's grandmother, and Elizabeth's grandmother taught her the magic she needed to know in order to make this cat do things that she wanted to. Yes, I said the cat. The cat was her familiar, and evidently it was also some kind of assassin. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of all a little bit bonkers. But here we are. I'm telling you, this story is nuts. So we have a cat, and she said that she's had this cat, turns into a toad, all this other fun stuff. And it originally belonged to Elizabeth, another woman, the other chick accused. Now, Agnes was also accused of killing livestock with witchcraft, causing illness, and bringing about death of her husband. So there it is. I don't know why I said earlier if I didn't know she was married or not. She was, but she was a widower. That makes so much sense now. It makes sense if you guys have been following along on my videos on the people they pick as a scapegoat for their crap, okay? They always find somebody that's alone, impoverished, not well educated. We know that Agnes didn't say her prayers in English. She said them in Latin. Maybe that was the best way she could say the prayers. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but to them, that was a bad thing. So I know it's early, but we're already headed to trial. Yeah, they were on top of this situation. And let me tell you, there were so many of these like top dudes there, like of the queens, like different kinds of sirs and like all this other kind of stuff. And they were there to kind of make sure that, you know, they wanted to see this. They wanted to see this witch trial, you know, like they were just enamored with it because they felt like their Witchcraft Act was fixing to take place. It was fixing to be put into place, and they were going to do that with Agnes. But first up on the stand is Elizabeth Frances. Okay, she was the first one up on the trial. Now, she confesses to so many things. You guys are gonna freaking freak out, okay? And I'm gonna have to read them because, you know, Mama can't remember everything. She confessed to having the familiar, and we're talking about Satan, the cat again, okay? Now, she received this cat, like I said, from her grandmother, Mother Eve of the Hatfield Perel parish in Essex, England, okay? So her grandmother was also a mother type person. So to me, that means she was a healer, she was a shaman, she was somebody that knew about herbs and flowers and plants and could help heal people if they were sick. That's what that tells me. But she said that her grandmother taught her witchcraft when she was 12. She actually kept the cat for 16 years before giving it to Agnes. Now, according to Elizabeth, the cat spoke to her in a strange, hollow voice and would do anything for her in exchange for a drop of blood. This is what she's telling the court, okay? And then she's going to be like, oh yeah, and I just went on ahead and lent my cat to Agnes. No problemo, you know. She said she needed it, and you know, she's family or whatnot, so if she needs it, she can have her, you know. She confessed to stealing sheep and killing several people. This is Elizabeth, okay? I'm pretty sure she's a low-key serial killer, okay, this woman. All right, so like I say, she confessed to killing several people, including a rich guy named Andrew Biles, who would not marry her after getting her pregnant. So what does she do? Just a heads up warning now, it's kind of awful, but she mixes up some herbs together in order to rid herself of pregnancy because the man would not marry her, and then she killed him. Why? And you know how she got the recipe, supposedly, for this little mixture she made up? The cat told her. The cat told her how to do it. Yeah, that makes sense, right? The cat told her how to mix up these herbs in order to make herself lose the pregnancy, okay? And I'm pretty sure it was probably the cat that she sent out to go ahead and, you know, do its evil deeds and kill people for her. I feel like this is like a story with like a scapegoat within a scapegoat within a scapegoat. Like it's like she's scapegoating the fact that she killed somebody by saying her cat did it. You feel me? I mean, it's just weird. But she goes on. She does get married later, and she was very, very unhappy, okay, with this marriage, unfortunately. Yeah. So she asked the cat, you know, hey, bro, kitty cat, Satan, what should I do, right? Tells her that the cat told her that he had to kill the 6-month-old baby she had with her husband and make the husband lame. So she had her 6-month-old, she admits to killing her 6-month-old baby because she was unhappy with her husband, and then she made him lame. Okay? Like, I'm sorry, but this just gets more bonkers, okay? So the confessions really expanded the scope of her crimes. So by the time Agnes gets up there, everybody is in full-on belief that this cat can do all this stuff, can go around and kill people and kill sheep and steal stuff and make people lame and sick and all these things. It's bizarre. It's not. So of course she accuses Agnes. She points the finger at Agnes, you know. She's like, well, she has the cat now, you know. I don't have the cat anymore. I had the cat for 16 years. And nobody said anything about it then, you know? And everything was just fine and dandy. I just feel like there's a way to find out if the 6-month-old, if she really did. There's got to be a way to see if that's true. But unfortunately, I couldn't find it to see if it was true. Because if there's an easy way to prove that, if she was married and she had a baby die, and then her husband had some kind of accident that made him lame, you feel me? Like, that would be an explanation, but here we are. So Elizabeth, for some reason, was given a lighter sentence. But her story doesn't end because 13 years later, she gets convicted for the same thing because she's a freaking serial killer, okay? It's called a repeat of their process. And so they convict her after 13 years later, okay? And they put her to death then. So Elizabeth gets in no trouble right now. She does get a sentence. It's probably to like a workhouse or something like that. But it's really Agnes that gets the brunt of this. Now, like I told you guys, Elizabeth Frances had given this cat to her sister Agnes, right? Well, She gives the cat to her. And so that is basically, everybody believes everything that this girl is saying. Basically saying that, oh yeah, okay, yeah, it's totally the cat. They believe in the cat now. And so, of course, they believe in what? They believe in the fact that Agnes is a witch because she now has hold of this cat. So when Elizabeth gave Agnes this cat, she had to teach her how to do the magic stuff that went with it, right? Because, I mean, the cat is magical. And you have to know all these certain types of things, the things that the grandmother taught her, you know? And so she teaches her those things and tells her that she must call him Satan and give him her blood and milk as before, just like Elizabeth was. So Agnes said, this is what she said. Agnes said she tested it out. She wanted to test this theory. She wanted to see if this was true. So she set the cat out on one of her pigs to see what it would do. And after arguments with neighbors, she actually had their cows and their geese killed, which doesn't say it's done by the cat. She never admits to harming anybody. She's never harmed anybody. That's the one thing about this woman. She's like, yes, I may have harmed farm animals. Yes, I may have stole some geese or something, you know, because I was hungry. Because we have to remember, she's probably not very smart. She's probably very, doesn't have much money, not much food. You know, it's always these kinds of circumstances that bring us to these kinds of trials, you know. And so, like I say, she tested it out, and she said that she kept the cat in a pot lined with wool, but then she wanted to repurpose the wool. And so she repurposed it into something that would create the cat and make it into a toad. So now the cat, Satan or Satan, whichever one you want to call it, is now a toad, okay? And some say the cat did it on its own, you know, but a lot of people think that Agnes did it or whatnot. Agnes denied that she ever succeeded in killing anybody with witchcraft. Point blank period. She was like, no, I have never killed anybody with witchcraft. I may have harmed a few animals or something like that because I'm hungry. I've never ever done that. So what did the court say about Agnes? They say guilty. Yeah. She doesn't admit to killing any people. Thus, I guess that makes her look more, harmful, evidently, to them back then. Because she didn't admit to it like Elizabeth did. Elizabeth got the lighter sentence, and Agnes gets, she's going to be executed. And it's so good to have knowledge today. We know what a serial killer looks like. We know they're going to repeat the pattern. We know that they get a cooling off time and all these things. And that Elizabeth chick, her sister, was a straight up serial killer. I don't care what anybody says. But the next person up on the stand is Joan. And that is her daughter, Agnes's daughter. So you're thinking, this is good, right? Yeah, this is fine because her daughter's going to save her butt, right? No, wrong. First, Joan tries to say she tried to exorcise the demons from the cat, okay, while her mom was away, because evidently you can't do it when mom's home because she might get mad. And what I'm trying to tell you guys is she about to ride on her mom, like point blank period, okay? So Joan was denied a piece of bread and cheese one day from like a neighbor kid, okay? And this kid's name was Agnes Brown, all right? And it had invoked the toad's help after being denied this cheese and this bread. She was like, okay, I'm going to just go on ahead and use the cat, and I'm going to get back at this neighbor. The neighbor girl's 12 years old. It's a kid, okay? Yeah, I'm telling you, it's the most bizarre story ever. So anyway, Joan says to the toad, would you help me get revenge on the neighbor girl for not letting me have a piece of bread? And it said that yes, it would, as long as you gave up your soul to the toad. Okay? Supposedly this toad talked. The cat talked. The toad talked and told you exactly what you needed to do. Okay. And so the toad would haunt Brown as a dog with horns. Just remember this later. Now, Joan did not claim to have used the supernatural services of the cat to any larger degree, like Elizabeth. Okay, like Elizabeth went way overboard. But saying that this meant the cat existed, helping convict her mom and her aunt, basically. By saying she used the cat, she's saying that it's real. You know what I mean? And yeah, hold on to your seats, people, because it's fixing to get even more buckwild. And now we get to Agnes Brown, who takes the stand. Yes, she does. And she talks about the black dog and all this other fun stuff. Oh yeah. So you got a 12-year-old on the stand, a child, okay, sitting there saying that. She says a lot of things. First, she described the demon as a black dog with a face like an ape, a short tail, a chain, and a silver whistle around its neck, and a pair of horns on its head. Okay, that's what she saw the very first time she saw this dog, supposedly, that was sent out by the toad / cat. I know, right? It's so nuts. During this first encounter, she actually speaks with the dog. Yeah. He asked for some butter. He asked Agnes Brown, little 12-year-old, hey, can I have some butter? And she's like, no. No butter for you. No, you're scary. I don't like you. Well, what does he do? He whips out a key to their milk house door and opened it and got the butter out. This is what a 12-year-old's saying. That a dog used keys to open a milk house and get his own butter. I'm sorry, where are your opposable thumbs? Where are those things? That can't happen, guys. Like, but let's just move on. So then Agnes Brown, she goes on and says that the last encounter that she had with this dog, he had a knife. Yeah. He was like, I'm gonna kill you. This is exactly what he said, supposedly. He said that literally, he threatened to kill her, saying that he would thrust his knife to my heart, but would make me die. That's exactly what this 12-year-old girl said on the stand. Okay, I'm sorry. I've never seen a dog with a knife. Never seen one. I've never been threatened by a dog with a knife. I mean, this dog is rough and ready, am I right? I mean, come on. You know, to believe stuff like this and to believe it from a 12-year-old is mind-blowing to me. Why they would put a 12-year-old on the stand. Because all these things that she's saying are sealing Agnes's fate. You see? Because this is backing up what Joan said. This is backing up what Joan said. And I want to know how Joan got this little girl to say all this madness. She must have gave her money or food or clothing or something in order for this little girl to make up stuff like this. Because this is all made up. This is completely made up. The most incriminating statement that this little girl made was the account of asking the dog who was his dame, and the dog nodded its head towards Agnes Waterhouse's house. Yeah. So that right there was the nail into her coffin, unfortunately. She was definitely found, I mean, she was already found guilty, but that on top of that, it just made it worse. So July 29th of 1566, 2 days after trial, she was brought to execution. Agnes was, okay? Joan didn't get in trouble. The other Agnes didn't get in any trouble. Well, I mean, I feel like she should be in trouble, though, because I know she lied. I'm just saying. I know it. I'm just saying I know it. But anyway, moving along. So she repented. Agnes gets up to her execution, and she repents. And she's like, I believe in God. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I believe in God, and I've prayed for forgiveness from Christ, you know? And she also confessed to her attempt to send the cat to hurt and damage goods of her neighbor, the tailor named Wardhall. It was unsuccessful because Wardhall had such a strong spiritual strength. You know, he had a really, really strong belief in God, and so that's why he was not affected. When questioned about her church habits, like, you know, did you go to church all the time and stuff like that, she said she prayed often, but like I told you guys earlier, but she always said it in Latin because the cat forbid her from praying in English. Agnes, why did you say that? Well, I mean, I guess you're fixing to get condemned, but it makes me curious of this cat. Why is everybody putting everything on this cat? Poor cat, you know? Poor Sathan. He's just getting put on everything, right? I mean, I mean, to say that you can only pray in Latin because the cat is making it that way. Okay, girl. Okay, you do you. You do you. And of course, this trial sparks the English witch craze that begins because of the Witchcraft Act. So Agnes Waterhouse was one of the first women put to death under the Witchcraft Act in England, Essex, England. And let's kind of talk about her for a minute, because I feel like Agnes was somebody that held a lot of information. And I think that Elizabeth did too, only Elizabeth went sideways with hers. And I think that Agnes was trying to be a good Christian, because we don't know during this if they were tortured. There was no mentioning of torture. So we don't know if they said this stuff under duress, especially about the cat. Like, I just don't understand that. And her title as mother, it makes me think, like I say, she was a healer. And I think they picked on her as a scapegoat because some man in town died suddenly that was never sick, maybe, and he may have just had a heart attack. Those kinds of things happen, but back then they didn't know that, so they had to blame somebody. And who do they blame? Agnes. And Agnes, evidently's whole entire family is against her, you know? They all turned their back on her when she needed them the most. It's sad. Now, Elizabeth was just a straight up nut job, like from the get, okay? She was straight up crazy. She may have had the knowledge of like herbs and things like that, but like I said, she did not use it in the right way. I mean, you can blame it all you want to on a cat killing people, but that's you, boo. That's you. She killed children and men, and she was killing people using her own knowledge of herbs. And Agnes, I mean, she may have killed some animals, but she never killed a person, you know? I'm not saying killing animals is cool. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that she didn't kill any people, but Elizabeth admits to killing people and she gets off. And Agnes does not, and she gets the God. I mean, Elizabeth later on gets the God 13 years later, you know what I mean? When they find out that she's doing the same thing, probably killing children and men, just like she was. And I mean, that could have been one of England's first serial killers. I'm just saying, you know? And the thing that gets me is, how does Joan do that to her mom? How does Joan verify the cat by saying, oh, I tried to, you know, raise the demons out of it so that it wouldn't do all these things. But then once I got upset, I decided I wanted to use it, you know, to get back at this girl and make her see a black dog and all this other kind of madness, you know. And then have the little girl hit the stand. I think that Joan told her to hit the stand and told her what to say. I really do. I think she gave her money or clothes or something in exchange for her testimony. Because how can a 12-year-old girl make up all that without an adult being there to tell them what to say? I'm just saying, it is absolutely, this is the most bizarre trial yet. Was the cat an actual familiar? And this cat, they talk about it so much and they blame it for so many things. Was it an actual familiar? Certainly not one that could change shape. No, no, but maybe a pet that passed through the family, like from family member to family member to family member. And that's why they held so much stock in this cat, because it was like a family pet, you know? So I call my dog my familiar, my old pan, because that's what she is. She's my comfort, you know? She helps comfort me. She don't go out and do things for me. No, no. If she did that, she probably would never come back. But all in all, I think this had a lot to do with sickness. I think that some man got sick and the witchcraft craze was starting to spike up because of the act. And they decided to blame one of the oldest people, healer, shaman type person, living alone, a widow. She checks all the boxes. She checks all the boxes to be a scapegoat. And then to have your own family come in and then pile on top a bunch of madness that's not true. I mean, this trial blew my mind, but this is one of the first ones done under the Witch Act, like I say, in England. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story today as much as I enjoyed telling it to you and researching it, because it was really fun. Like, really fun. I just kept going, what? Like, I mean, it just kept going, you know? I mean, that's just the way it is. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it this week. I will have another one for you later on this week, of course. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I'll let you know. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. And I love you guys. And who I told you today, I love you. Have a good one.